Hi, Tracy.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Barry?
Good. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Did you have fun last night?
I had a great time last night.
Yeah, we had this great
Group
the newsmaker dinner for our board directors and our speakers and some of the big sponsors. We had the head of the new BBC Global News Desk, and we had my friend David. I mentioned Dave Morgan came back from Ukraine, and we had a great discussion of world events. And I'm so glad you were there. Wonderful. So Tracy, your role is leading global media for Mastercard. Do you run around the world as much as Ben Jankowski used to?
It's a post-COVID world, so not quite as much
Okay.
as Ben did. I wish. I actually am headed to Paris for our Rugby World Cup sponsorship.
Oh, fabulous.
But not as much as we used to, but still hopefully getting around a little bit here and there.
The World Cup will be exciting. By the way, there's something moving and hanging here, David. I don't know if that's okay. It's moving around. Keep going, Barry. Oh, Francois, the new stage director. Is that Francois? Thank you. It's stage director, Francois. He's chairman of everything. Now he's chairman of the stage. It's incredible. All right, David, make sure we're safe up here because Tracy's a very important person. So we've seen the media landscape, of course, has dramatically changed, and it's ever-changing every day. What's some of the biggest challenges in Mastercard connecting to your audiences?
Yeah, you know, there's so many challenges today. I'm going to talk about three that come top of mind because they affect everybody in this room and, you know, what we do as a business every day. And so the three things that we think about consistently are the fact that consumer attention has really, you know, been more and more difficult to capture. Consumer every day maybe has an attention span of a goldfish, which is basically 8 seconds. So if you're thinking about just walking around, you're, you know, engaging every day with thousands of messages, and this is the second challenge, is the bombardment of advertising and messages that are coming at your way consistently. And so the two kind of work hand in hand in the fact that if our attention span is down and we have multiple messages hitting us every day, the ability to break through is that much harder, right? So those two things compounded also by the fact that ad blockers are becoming a norm, right? So you have 600 million plus people who have activated ad blockers. And so our jobs have become incredibly difficult to break through. And for us, what that means is we really need to be thinking about experiential marketing and touching consumers in a way that goes beyond advertising. And somebody, you know, from a media world, that's been a tough shift, right? Like, you know, we have to be more and more creative about how we're, you know, using our media channels to connect on that kind of level. So when you think about creating that lasting impact, you know, we turn to things like sponsorships, and we have, you know, numerous sponsorships across our portfolio that enable us to connect on that more direct level to give consumers experiences with our brand and make them feel like we're not just showing up and throwing messages in their face, but we're providing value to their lives.
That's really key, and Mastercard does such a great job of experiences, whether it's sports or theater or culinary has been a big involvement too, because I think you're right, and the bombardment of just so many myriad messages every day, the experiences, it's what's, you know, really everlasting.
Yeah, and one thing I was just think about technology and how much it's also affected our everyday lives. And so I go back to when DVR first came out. We were all like, oh crap, what do we do now, right? And now fast forward, and no pun intended, but fast forward, and now we're in a world where, you know, content providers are like, you know, putting out opportunities on streaming platforms, but it's so fragmented because consumer choice has become enormous. Like you could go on 12 different platforms, and then so the ability, you can't buy reach and relevance anymore at the end of the day. And so it's ever more important that we are hyper focused on connecting people with priceless possibilities or priceless opportunities.
You make such a great point. You know, we've seen, and the frequency on connected TV also is huge because of the same low numbers. We've actually found in the digital out-of-home world, unlike the web or apps where you can just create more inventory, we're a finite inventory mechanism because you've got to get real estate and municipalities. So that's a lot of the power of what we have, including that experience of interacting with something in real life on the path to purchase or at the point of purchase. So thanks for that lead in on that. You did mention the experiences. I wonder if it's good to maybe jump to the power of passions, because I think that relates as you appeal to people's passions. How does Mastercard do that?
Yeah, so we look across 10 different passion points as a way to connect people under one unifying theme and cause, because people that we want to talk to can span multiple different cultures, backgrounds, locations, and so there's so much that somebody could embrace, with others when you focus them in on a passion point. So we have, shopping, sports, travel, entertainment, all the things that matter most to consumers. And we connect with them by providing them these priceless opportunities and experiences to engage with what they love most in life. Because if we're making them happy and we're showing up when they care, they're going to think about our brand, and we're going to be top of wallet come that purchase time. So it's never an overt situation. We're not a bank, right? So we're not looking for acquisition. We're really all about driving that brand love and perception, so that come the time when either banks are considering us as a partner, and or when a consumer is picking out their card from their wallet, they're going to choose their Mastercard.
And you mentioned banking, and I guess that goes to the point that you are a B2C2B business, which I think everybody understands what that means. You've talked a little bit about the consumer. How do you do that B2B business and outreach?
Yeah, so we have evolved over the past, I want to say 10 to 15 years in particular, to become more of a B2B company, because at the end of the day, we're a technology company, and we've always had brand products and services and things to offer, multiple different companies across multiple different industries. And so, what's been amazing is that we've been able to take Priceless, which is really a brand driver and a brand differentiator for us, and apply that to the B2B space, which is not an easy thing when people are so used to the way Priceless shows up now, which is all about, again, bringing priceless possibilities into people's lives. But the fact of the matter is it really does work from a business perspective too. So we actually launched a campaign about a year and a half ago around B2B perceptions. And the notion is, because so many people still think of Mastercard as a card company even, not even a payment technology company, we needed to shift that narrative in people's heads. And so our advertising has been about using case studies of all the amazing partners that we do have and sharing that with the world to say, hey, did you know that Mastercard helped stop fraudulent activity for so-and-so government or so-and-so bank? And this has been a way for us to continue to utilize our umbrella of Priceless under the theme of together the possibilities are priceless, because we can and always will put both our consumers but also our customers first when it comes to finding ways to make it a more inclusive economy for all.
What a great job. B2B, B2C, media, marketing, going to Paris for the games. That's great. We launched our UK and our EMEA business. We should figure out a way that you could take me to a ball game when I'm in Paris. You mentioned Priceless. God, quarter of a century? Is that how long it's been going on? I mean, what a successful run for an ad campaign. Is that a record, or is it just my imagination? It sounds like a long time.
It's one of the most longest run campaigns. And like I said, it's really been a differentiator for us. It helps us stand out amongst the competition, and it's evolved so much. So we started with the listicles, and I don't know about you guys, but a big reason why I joined Mastercard was because I felt so connected to that first ad campaign. Watching it as a young adult, and the boys at the baseball game, and it's the tears are coming down your face, and it's just everybody can remember that moment. But it's changed so much over the years. So it's not like it's always been priceless, but we've evolved how we think and talk about it in a way that consumers have evolved, right? So staying on top of we want to make sure that we're not consistently saying the same thing over and over again. There has to be an involvement of that storytelling, and it's been almost 26 years now.
Amazing. What a great success, and what a great job move for you, in addition to the geography of it, which is great.
Yeah.
Where were you before?
I was at Estee Lauder before,
Right.
and I worked on the agency side at PhD and Ogilvy before.
And as we spoke last night, Christophe is here. He's a man that's developed technology where you can send audio to different people in a room. And his business is actually funded by my friend Gary Lauder, as we talked about last night. Yep. So we've talked a lot today about all organizations and companies should be a force for growth, but also a force for good. You folks have done a lot in purpose-driven and DEI, and how do you kind of strategize and execute on this?
Yeah, so, you know, our mantra is doing well by doing good, and it's also, again, a reason why I am working at this company. We really believe and stand behind what we say. We're not one of those companies that just, you know, does it to do it. Like, we have come up with so many different product innovations. We have actually changed the way our employees are compensated so that if they're not driving sustainability efforts or you know, we have closed the gender gap when it comes to you know, paying our employees too. We're really putting our money where our mouth is, and I am, you know, I'm always so proud to talk about the work we've done. I have a really good example that I'll have the team show in a second of how we think through bringing as many people into the digital economy as possible, and what that means is making it easy for them to be able to, you know, have payment opportunities. And if you think about people who are blind or visually impaired, at the end of the day, they're going up to make a payment and they can't tell which card is their credit card or their debit card or their prepaid card.
Tell people, yeah.
Yeah, so we invented, and you know, it actually came out of somebody was attending South by Southwest, and there was an insight around this, and they brought it back, and they were like, we got to fix this problem. Like, we can actually do this. You know, when you're, it's exciting because when you actually have a solve for something like that, you know, there's nothing but excitement in the company to get behind it. And so I'll have the team show the video, but this is our touch card, which is now available. It launched with Citizens Bank earlier this year. And we're really, really proud of how we've thought through, again, bringing everybody into the digital economy.
So via the card, they really can understand anything they would need to visually because of the touch, the cut, the angles.
That's right.
It's brilliant. And your CMO, who, you know, we both know, Raja, I think he's also head of health or something for Mastercard.
Yes, president of healthcare.
And he did healthcare in his experience before, and he's also, his family is from the East, and he's very health conscious, and he's very centered in that way, and he's a brilliant man.
Brilliant.
I mean, he's,
Yes.
you are working you've got a great job. Should we run the video now?
Please,
I think
yeah,
that'd be
please.
good to run the video of the card for visually impaired people. So ideally, we'll run it. There it goes.
This commercial was designed with audio description for people who are blind or partially sighted, so more people can experience it. A red-haired woman holds a white cane and feels her way down apartment steps. She strolls past a man scrubbing his vintage sports car.
Love the music, Rick.
Good morning, Marjorie.
Good morning.
Marjorie tilts her head. What's that sound? A shopping cart?
Hey, Marjorie.
It's her friend on a skateboard.
Hey, Marcus.
Nearby, kids play soccer. Marjorie steps into a tiny cafe.
Hey, Marjorie. Hi, Mayuki. Vanilla latte, please. Okay, $4.50.
Someone shuffles impatiently behind her. Marjorie isn't flustered. All cards used to feel the same, but TouchCard from Mastercard has 3 distinct notches for debit, credit, and prepaid. She feels a half hexagon. A credit card. She taps a terminal and takes her latte.
Thank you.
She steps outside and strides away from us. Touch cards appear, each with a distinct notch. Introducing TouchCard by Mastercard, because a world designed for all of us is priceless. The word priceless next to the Mastercard logo.
Isn't that wonderful? You know, advertising and marketing and products can be such a great force for good, and you guys at Mastercard do You do so well at that. So we have brands here, agencies, press, a lot of out-of-home people. What's your thinking on out-of-home, and what advice may you have for all the folks in the room so they can help sell more branding, cards, awareness, and everything?
Yeah, so, dare I say that I think out-of-home is just one of those channels that can and will stand the test of time. And the reason being because there is always opportunity for impact with out-of-home. And I think that at the end of the day, like I said, it's harder and harder from a reach and relevance perspective to buy, and be reaching your target, everywhere they are. And people are leaving their house every single day. And we know that there's, especially on the B2B side, there's a whole customer journey that happens. And we know the importance of being there along that entire journey, right? So whether it's, at a conference like this, if we wanted to, be surrounding advertising, folk, we have to be thinking about that moment of impact. And digital out-of-home in particular, thank goodness, because we can't, with our B2B story, we can't tell it simply. It's a complex story. And so, when we planned our out-of-home campaign for the B2B Perceptions campaign, the things we were looking for were first and foremost digital. So we struggled in markets where there was less digital opportunity. Secondly, we looked for, consistency, so that way, if we have one case study here, we need another one here, another one here. So we needed placements that gave us the ability to surround sound and consistently kind of tell the story so that by the end, you've got it. Okay, Mastercard does all these different things. And I really think that digital out-of-home is one of the, only places that make it simple for us to do something like that, because by the time you're putting it on, video, people are past it and they're at the next thing already.
Right.
But you can capture somebody as they're walking along their way.
Their whole consumer journey.
Yeah, and their whole consumer journey. I mean, we also look at it from a travel perspective, cross-border is incredibly important to our business. And that means that when somebody is traveling, we want to remind them that their Mastercard is, fee-free and going to keep them safe, and they can use ATMs. And, there's a lot of messaging that is important to get out in that moment, because I don't know about you, but when I travel abroad, I always think oh my God, is it going to be cheaper if I exchange here or if I use my ATM card? And it's I know more because I work at Mastercard, but a lot of people don't realize the benefits that their cards hold. And so out-of-home is crucial, especially around airports, for us from a travel perspective to be consistently in front of those people.
I can't remember the last time I've used cash, and I've been in a lot of cities, a lot of countries, and it is taken everywhere, and it's really powerful. Questions for Tracy? I see, I'm going to walk around so I can see over there. I see one question here. Think about, we have time for a couple of questions. And the microphone I left, I'm going to go grab the mic. Thank you, Janelle, for what I do without you and Ajay and Tracy. Okay. I really can't remember the last time I've used cash. It's incredible. Cherry and Thomas, Magenta Man. Sorry. Solomon from Loop Me. Go ahead.
Okay.
Hey, Deb.
Thank you, Tracy. Just on the topic of being at an iconic brand that is, doing a B2B positioning and doing big ticket brand marketing, could you just talk a little bit about the specific KPIs that you guys are going after, at the top of the funnel, the middle, bottom, and also just how that plays out into out-of-home and how you measure and optimize on that, and as succinctly and comprehensively as possible. Thank you.
I'll try. We operate across the full funnel, to be honest, but and as I explained, our B2C2B business has been such a huge part and will continue to be. And that's really, again, about driving top of wallet and brand love and perception. So our KPIs are, we're looking at what that brand love is on a consistent basis across the world. And so we're measuring that And we're making sure that we're meeting our, our goals there. And then from a B2B perspective, because it's not new, but because to a lot of people it feels new, this is it's an awareness play right now. It's very much like putting as much out there as possible about all of our products and services so people start to get and grasp that we're beyond card, right? So that KPI is really about measuring that perception of, did you know that Mastercard does all these other things, right? And then, like any B2B organization, there's always going to be that lead gen piece, and so our sales teams we work closely with to kind of drive some of that bottom funnel activity too. From an out-of-home perspective, we definitely see it as a channel to help us on that top funnel, driving that consistent awareness and impact. Like, I talked a little bit about attention, but we need to get past all of those other messages that are out there. And so for me, out of home is an opportunity for us to have that moment of impact where somebody says, oh wow, like that's cool, I didn't know that, and that's hopefully as succinct as possible.
Tracy, thank you for making the time.
Yeah.
You've got all the operators in the room, digital out of home. How can we help you better? If you went back to head office right now and said, you know what, I had the whole industry at my feet, looking up at me gazingly, adoringly, and saying, I want this, and they said they would give it. What's the this that you need from us?
It's a great question. I mean, I mentioned before, we struggled at times, and this is not maybe something you can help, but hopefully, we struggled at times in certain markets having, a lot of digital opportunities. So Canada, for example, we just had our Cybos sponsorship. Like, that was a challenge. Like, we had to find different ways to be impactful without that, as much of a digital stronghold. This was in Toronto. And so I guess my ask is like, keep pushing to like update those static billboards and those, areas where, it's been so stale for so long. Like, we need it to be digital. We need to be able to have that complex storytelling told, and static's just a much more difficult, way for us to do that. So that would be my ask.
That's great. Well, I would say you've made some great points. Out of home can and will stand the test of time. I love that one. That's a great quote. Mm-hmm. And the other one, people are leaving their house every day, which is fabulous as well. And I'm just going to end this by saying, time spent with Tracy Spiegelman. Priceless, exactly.
Thank
Great.
you.
Give her a hand.
Thanks, Barry.
Wonderful.